What a day to be shorting. What's going on, guys? It's Ricky with TechBud Solutions. Hope that you guys are all having an amazing Tuesday. Our LPP team absolutely just killed it today. There's a handful of different, really overall markets, not just a few different stocks. There were specific stocks that really got destroyed today, right? Overall NASDAQ market ended 1.5% in the red. At one point, it was over 2% in the red. Now it's kind of, it recovered into the close, which again, we saw the consolidation present itself. So it's not like a V-shaped recovery. It began to consolidate, slow down, and any times that there's lack of progress after a significant sell-off, when in doubt, never be afraid to cash out. Our team did an amazing job working with the market today. So congratulations to all of our traders. Again, I want to give a big shout out to one of our LPP traders that just crossed $100,000 for the first time. So again, our focus has always been very simple: highlight risk management as one of the number one priorities, position size management, and establish healthy habits for beginners so they don't make the same mistakes that all of us have made when we first got started, right? Being selective, having trade-based criterias, very simple steps that you can take in the beginning that most don't. And that's, of course, what we like to focus on. Again, if you ever want to watch me trade live, it's not pre-recorded. It's not once a week. It's daily live sessions. We have members that signed up back in 2018 that still get to watch me trade live every single day, even today. And they only paid once. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. It's LPP 3.0. And yes, it also does include the LPP lesson library. It's the second link in the description down below. If you want a huge discount, you can sign up today and start watching me trade live as soon as tomorrow. As many of you guys saw, PayPal saw a significant downturn. If you guys did not see that, PayPal ended up selling off a total of 20% on the day, and it was one of many different stocks that sold off after earnings. CMG, after the market closed, as many of you guys know, Chipotle was set to report earnings after the market closed today. CMG fell 11% at one point. It did begin to show signs of a possible recovery, and that's what we have going on here. Hit lows of 34 and then kind of beginning to consolidate right around 36.30. If we look at the 4-hour time frame, we could see that we definitely have more downside based off of previous lows. And it has not been the most bullish stock on the day time frame with consistent lower highs and lower lows. It did have a really nice upswing recently, but again, can it continue to sell off? Of course, its overall long-term direction has been quite bearish. Again, with the new CEO, we really hope that things begin to turn around, but you cannot be surprised, especially with the guidance that it shared. The guidance was it reported a sharp drop in restaurant traffic. That's obviously not good news, especially as many of these different companies on the retail side of things are reporting lower guidance and consumer spending for 2026 than what was expected. I had this conversation today with my LPP team and many other days before. It's so funny how the markets contradict what these companies are telling us. You have big companies lowering their guidance for 2026, yet we have the president of the United States and overall markets trading at all-time highs, like things are thriving. I want to remind you, the stock market does not represent how our economy is actually doing. It does not represent on how Americans are doing, especially if you feel like there is some pressure that you are feeling in this economy. You are correct. People are spending less money, big picture, and there is expected to be slowdowns. So when these red flags present themselves, it's also not to drive panic. That's not what I'm here to do. I mean, I'm invested in a handful of Magnificent Seven, the Max 7 stocks, and I have no intention of selling all of them. But I'm not over leveraged, and I'm, sitting pretty cash heavy that if markets do pull back, I welcome pullbacks and I would love to buy more. That's the thing. You have to be well balanced. Have enough skin in the game that you feel motivated to be invested, but not so much that you can't tolerate a downturn. So again, just really interesting to be paying attention to individual companies and then the overall outlook of what the president is stating that we are experiencing as the American public, right? So just in, Bitcoin also falls below 73,000. This is for the first time since its Bitcoin run, right? $285 million were liquidated from the crypto market in the past 60 minutes. And I'm not here to kick crypto traders while they're down. Many of you guys know I don't trade crypto. The main reason that I focus and talk so much about Bitcoin itself is because I short MicroStrategy, which MicroStrategy is a BS company that buys Bitcoin. That's why I pay a lot of attention to Bitcoin. I don't actually trade crypto, nor do I care for it. I am a big believer that you have every right to invest in any speculative asset that your heart desires. But please, for your own sake, don't use leverage, especially with speculative assets. It doesn't matter how much conviction you might have. Leverage is a terrible thing when it turns against you. Ask any investor, ask any trader. There's nothing wrong with having some skin in the game, but make sure that you can tolerate it. And you can't tolerate downturns when you're using borrowed funds. You're going to get margin called. And that's why you're seeing so much selling pressure, because crypto is a market full of leverage. That's all it is. It would never have hit 126 if platforms didn't offer 40x leverage on crypto unregulated platforms, right? It's great when direction is in your favor, but unfortunately for many crypto investors, including Michael Saylor and Tom Lee, when direction turns against you, you end up entering in the red. And that's exactly what we've seen. The two biggest crypto bros, Michael Saylor and Tom Lee, for Ethereum and for Bitcoin, are now both officially in the red. You have Tom Lee, if I'm not mistaken, over $6 billion in the red last time I checked. And now officially Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy's position is now in the red. And that's after what, 5 to 10 years of buying Bitcoin? So now it doesn't even matter how low Bitcoin has gone or has come from before. People like to talk about, but it's up 20,000% since it was created. Who cares, man? Your average purchase price is in the red. Why are you talking about what it has gone up when you're down on your position? That's the part that just doesn't make sense to me, is why talk about the price performance of when it was first established when your average purchase price is 120,000 per crypto, right? And you own 0.25 of Bitcoin, right? This is the part that I think is so terrible, is the two biggest crypto investors, the two biggest faces in crypto are over leveraged at overbought levels. And I think they're going to be great examples of what not to do. Fortunately for them, they're using your money to invest in crypto. So therefore, they don't have to really worry about getting margin called or liquidated. At least that's good for them. It's unfortunate for you because when you buy their companies, all they're really doing is diluting you, using those funds to borrow against, and then buying more crypto. Good for them, right? But all you continue to do is try to support them by buying shares that continue to dilute you. Again, you're an adult. You can do whatever it is that you want. I'm not here to convince you to not buy it. I'm a big believer that, again, buy whatever speculative asset you can tolerate. Just please do not use leverage. Michael Saylor is sitting on $1.5 billion in unrealized losses on BTC, and we haven't even entered a bear market yet. Again, the thing that I want to remind you is that Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy report earnings on Thursday. This is expected to be the first time that MicroStrategy, after adopting the new accounting rule of being able to report unrealized gains, now they're going to report an unrealized loss for Q4 of 2025. Remember the past few quarters where they were reporting profitable earnings? They were able to do that because they were using unrealized gains with the new accounting rule. Now they're going to have to accept the unrealized losses. Now, this is again when this accounting rule can really turn bad. So you guys let me know down in the comment section how bad you think it can get for MicroStrategy. We hit lows of, let me double check. I think it was 126 today for MicroStrategy. You think we could hit sub 100 by the end of the week? I don't know. I'm not shorting it. I'm not here to encourage you to short, especially not overnight. Shorting anything overnight, especially a speculative high-risk stock like this, and carrying that position overnight comes at a greater form of risk. I'm not like the crypto bros that need you to follow in their footsteps because, again, those things have no volume and all they're just hoping for is that you give it enough push that they make a little bit. No. None of that. It's just a genuine question is if the earning report is bad enough and sentiment is negative enough, do you think there will be enough fear in the market that will cause MicroStrategy to just drop another 20 to 30%? I mean, it's already down over 60% in the past 3 to 4 months. What's another 20, right? It's closer to 100 than it is to 200. And that's the beautiful thing. It's not that it has to hit 100. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that, I wouldn't be surprised. So very excited to follow up. But the big stocks for tomorrow are going to be Uber before the market opens, reporting earnings. And then we have Alphabet after the market closes. And then on Thursday, then we have Amazon and Strategy after the market closes. So again, please make sure that you are aware of that. And the handful of different stocks that reported earnings today after the market closed, Supermicro at one point was up 10% on the day. Now it's only up 4.8, a nice little push, but it tends to be short-lived. We talked about CMG with a nice little 6 to 7% drop. And then AMD also reported earnings with a nice 7 to almost 8% drop. So again, a lot of active movers and a very common theme for most of the market. Some of them are reporting better earnings than what was expected, but their guidance is lower than what was expected for 2026, which doesn't come at much of a surprise, especially with the Fed only expected to cut rates once in 2026. Again, I like to focus on the data. I like to focus on the numbers and not just follow the hype. If you're trying to learn from someone that will always tell you that the sky is all rainbows and butterflies, I'm not going to be your guy. I do talk a lot about risk management and downside risk, and that really upsets a lot of people. But a reminder, I think that when beginners are first getting started, I think they should be talked and encouraged to take both sides into consideration, to not just be told what they can make, but also highlight what is possible to lose. Because at least at that point, you can make a more informed and hopefully a more calculated trade decision so you can determine yourself. Now understanding the downside risk and the profit potential, is it worth the risk? Again, simple steps that you can take as a beginner to avoid huge losses like many MSTR bag holders have. So again, I hope to see you for tomorrow's live trading session. And whenever you're ready to join, it's the second link in the description down below. I appreciate your time. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, team.